Now if we want to see the definition of the animals that are declared to be clean and unclean, we have to go to Leviticus 11. Let me see, I print these verses up to make it a little bit easier to read, and sometimes I have to resort to the actual book. I have no problem with that at all. So we just have to quickly find Leviticus chapter 11, and there we will see all the animals that are declared to be clean or unclean. We're not going to read all of them out. You can look at them in your own leisure. Leviticus chapter 11. If you don't have a copy of a King James Bible, you can go to the website and our free ebook downloads. You can download a copy of the King James Bible. This particular set of verses we are looking at tonight will show you one of the examples of how corrupt several, if not every single modern translation is. So Leviticus chapter 11, and the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, these are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Now, the Israelites had been in Egypt for 430 years. They'd just come out. So they were all messed up. They had no idea when was the Sabbath. They had no idea when were the holy days. They had no idea what they should eat. So God defines it very, very precisely in Leviticus. You find the holy days in Leviticus 23. You find clean and unclean food. As I explained, meat means food in Leviticus 11. These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. And then he goes on and explains, Whatsoever parteth the hoof and is cloven-footed, and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat. Nevertheless, these that ye shall not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof, as the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof. He is unclean to you. And then it goes on. As I say, you have to read them all. The coney, the hare, that's the rabbit, the swine, I don't have to define that for you. Swine, yeah. It says, though he divide the hoof and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud. He is unclean to you. Of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall ye not touch. They are unclean to you. So it's saying, not only do not eat it, don't even touch it. I wonder how much sickness comes from our dabbling with these unclean animals. That's not just an idle question. My brother, who subsequently died, was very ill in hospital. They said that undigested protein was getting into his bloodstream. However that happened. And I remember one weekend going to see him, and he suddenly had turned for the worse. And his doctor stayed at the foot of the bed, looked at him and said, I know what you ate today. You ate pork, didn't you? And he was right. Such was the dramatic impact of eating pork. In the West Indies, many people are known to get seriously ill and die from eating several things, pork being one of them, lobster being another. Then it goes on and says, These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters, whatsoever hath fins and scales in the waters in the seas and in the rivers, them shall ye eat, and all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you. That's verse 10 of Leviticus 11. It is so important that verse 11 says, repeats it, they shall be even an abomination unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, but ye shall have their carcasses in abomination. You know, my feeling is that we are very fortunate to be alive. The stuff that we have eaten. And this is quite in addition to the chemicals, the GM modification, the messing up of the genes of the plants with the animals. It's how we are alive today, I have no idea. And when you move to the birds, you have the same thing. You see, and Christ doesn't just say that don't eat them, it's not good for you. He uses an exceedingly harsh word, abomination. And these are they which ye shall have in abomination among the fowls. They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination. How many times in such few words have we had abomination? 3 times. The eagle and the ossifrage and the osprey, the vulture and the kite after his kind, every raven, the owl, the nighthawk, cuckoo, the hawk after his kind, the little owl, the cormorant, the great owl, the swan, the pelican, the gier eagle, the stork, the lapwing. In verse 12 we then move down to things that you may eat. Now some of those things people eat. We have had East Europeans coming in here and they're finding the swans being killed and eaten. Things like that. Now the funny thing is we will now put up our nose at some of the things that we're told we could eat. You may eat the locust after his kind, and it goes and lists several different kinds of locusts. But all other flying, creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination. The carcasses of every beast which divideth the hoof, and is not cloven-footed, nor cheweth the cud, are unclean unto you, and every one that toucheth them shall be unclean. It's not even telling you to eat it, it's saying if you go and touch it, you will be unclean. And whatsoever goeth upon his paws among all manner of beasts, that go on all 4, those are unclean unto you. Whosoever toucheth their carcass shall be unclean, and he that beareth the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean. They are unclean unto you. So it goes on. You can see it. It tells you how we should be concerned about what we put in our mouth, because we are what we eat. You know, many of those animals that we are not to eat are rubbish bins, live rubbish bins, or carnivores. You know, you look at the eagle, when she's coming down, any one of that type of bird, screaming out of the sky right up to 180 miles an hour as she zaps a pheasant in the air. You know, or you look at a lion or tiger hunting down the gazelles, or anything like that. Then they're not designed for food. Even their very appearance is different. But you know, these animals also have a character that we should not be emulating.